What is going on, guys and girls? How you doing today? It's Anger Roleplay here once again. Today I want to show you another type of spectre that I've been experimenting with, trying this out and looking how good they are. These guys are called GOATMAN Fire-Raiser or Fire-Raiser GOATMAN, as you wish. I've been looking at part of building and the numbers look pretty decent. I wanted to try them out and see how viable are they for mapping and for bossing. And overall, I was pleased how they were shaping up. They are a decent choice for spectres, and the best thing about them quite possibly is the fact that they can be acquired pretty early. When you get your spectre gem, you can literally go into Act 1, Prisoner's Gate, and get the GOATMAN Fire-Raisers there, and you're ready to go. And they actually do a lot of damage comparing how early you can get them in the game. At the same time, the disadvantage that I encountered was the lack of mobility of these specters. They're really slow. They really have a problem keeping up with the summoner, and literally I had to buy a movement speed ring for the minions in order for them to be somewhat decently viable in terms of movement speed. Otherwise they are really slow, and they just can't keep up with the pace of the summoner, especially if you shield charge. They just absolutely cannot move as fast as you. Speaking about the spectre type themselves, here are the stats that you see. GOATMAN Fire-Raiser, you can get them in a Prisoner Gate, which is Act 1. They have 3 types of attacks, and the first is the Fireball, and it actually does a lot of damage. It does a really decent amount of damage, pretty much close to the Solar Guards actually. The second type of attack is the Fire Shield, like the Molten Shell shit. And unfortunately, I haven't seen this thing to be very viable. Even though it is supposed to be dealing decent amount of damage, I haven't proved this thing to be really worthwhile, and for them to be actually doing something decent with this thing. And the third type of attack is the Fire Mortar, which is like Magma Orb. It deals a pretty crazy amount of fire damage. It also fires extra projectiles with increased cast speed and chains 2 times. So this thing is actually pretty damn interesting. And if you somehow manage to let's say increase the damage of this type of attack, of this type of spell, with extra chains, quite possibly something else, I don't know, some pierce on other things, this can potentially be the viable end game experience and game skill damage dealer. And it actually, even without any extra investment, they actually do quite decent amount of damage. The damage of them is a base 100%, which is not high, but it's okay since the damage of the skills themselves is quite high, so it kind of compensates. The life on them is pretty decent, I would say. This is higher than the Undying Incinerators. Also, they also have fire resist like the Solar Guards and the Undying Incinerators, and no other resist as well, so they can be prone to dying to the Shaper Balls or to the Uber Elder. I haven't personally tested them against Uber Elder or Shaper, but I think they will have no problems killing Shaper at least, so they are absolutely endgame viable. Except maybe Uber Elder, that they may potentially have problems with life or resist. So let's check the specters in power building and compare them to the Solar Guards visually, like I'd like to say. So these are the damage numbers on the Fireball, on the GOATMAN Fire-Raisers. You can see it's about over 300k, and the cast rate is fine. The life is pretty good too. It's higher than the Undying Incinerators, like I said, like 40% higher than the Undying Incinerators. So these specters survive really nicely, and the damage on the Fireball is pretty damn strong. If we compare it to the Solar Guards, which have 350, this is just slightly less than the Solar Guards. Another thing is a Molten Shell. Like I said, I haven't found it to be somewhat a viable source of damage. This is mostly for them to get extra armor, I believe. And the last and the most important, I believe, is this. This is a cooldown based skill. It does enormous amount of damage. It's literally one of the highest damaging spells that I've seen so far. It's close to what Firestorm of the Reasonable Advocates does, but it's actually even higher than this. It's almost 500k, and I believe this is even per orb maybe. It's hard to tell for now. And the cooldown is 3 seconds, so this actually spam it quite nicely. And these two things combined, the Fireball and the Magma Orb attack spells, they kind of make this an extremely good boss killers, as well as the clear speed contenders to the Solar Guards. The only downside, like as this, is potentially the movement speed. So let me summarize a bit of information for you guys, how much viable I found these GOATMAN Fire-RAISERS. Overall, I would say it was an enjoyable experience, it was a pleasing experience. The damage is absolutely fine, especially when they shoot the fireball and that start dropping magma orbs. It really devastates shit and it really melts bosses. However, I haven't found it somewhat more devastating than the Undying Incinerators. And the fact that they are literally feel slower than the Incinerators and the Solar Guards made them a bit of lacking, you know, overall in terms of how fast they move, how they relocate, overall how they react in the delves, how good is this if we play the shield charge version and not the just run and self-cast version of the summoner. For the shield charge, I believe they are not very good because you're literally much faster than your summoner, than your spectres. And I even specifically bought the minion movement speed ring for them because I wanted to make them faster to keep up with me, but it didn't really help that much. I had to convocate them a lot, and over a course of time, like I played for a couple of days with the GOATMAN Fire-RAISERS, it felt a bit annoying, maybe I would say. I felt like I'm always in a bit of an extra danger, since simply because I'm just running a bit ahead of them and they're trying to keep up on me, and they sometimes fail. I'm sometimes way far ahead. They're just not the fastest spectres as a spellcasters, I would say. Overall, the damage was absolutely nice. Overall, I cannot recommend them over Solar Guards, simply because Solar Guards are just, even though their beam, it doesn't really do a lot of damage, but the Fireball slightly stronger than the Fireball of the Fire-RAISERS, and at the same time they keep up much better than the Fire-RAISERS as well. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for watching the video. Your likes and dislikes, especially, as they push me forward even more. If you want to see more content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do daily uploads of role-playing content, being it builds, guides, let's play, stream highlights, and upcoming RPG games. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch stream to catch me live in action. I do stream daily on working days. I'm a full-time YouTube content creator and a Twitch streamer too, so if you want to support me, you can do it either from Twitch or by PayPal directly from my website angryroleplayer.com. Join my Discord channel too for a place to discuss RPG things offline, as well as follow my Twitter to be notified on any new content. If you want to get extra information like sneak peeks into upcoming videos, plans, different behind-the-scenes footage, you can also join the Unholy Army on Patreon as well, guys. Thank you very much once again for watching, listening to all this. See you soon.